Today we're doing an unboxing and review of Natalie McNeil's Conquer Kit and her Conquer Your Year Planner. So today we're going to go over whether or not they're worth it, and also if you are a plannerpreneur, how you can recreate this for yourself. Hi everyone, I'm Lisa from Pretty Fabulous, and I help online businesses create beautiful digital downloads using Adobe InDesign. So if this sounds like you or something you might be interested in, make sure to hit the subscribe button below. I post new videos every Monday and Thursday, and I do unboxings and reviews like this on Saturday. Today I'm going to walk you through each of these books individually so you can see exactly what is inside of them, and then I'm going to walk you through her sales page and also walk you through, if you are a plannerpreneur, how you can recreate these systems for yourself and sell your own version. First thing you should know is these books do not go together. They are not meant to be paired. One is not a book and the other one is sort of the workbook that goes along with it. Conquer Kit was published in 2015, and this is very much called a business planner. It's more just a book that has a couple spaces for you to write in. It is traditionally published, so it's not going to lay flat. However, the next book that was published a year later is meant to be a planner. It has the coil binding, but it has it kind of hidden where a regular cover has just been pasted on to the spiral. And this has unmarked pages inside of it so that it can be used any point at any time in the year, and there are no offers to purchase them together as a package. So this is the business planner, and this is the one that was written in 2015, and you can see it has a regular spine. It was traditionally published by an imprint from Penguin Random House. And over here in this table of contents, she's done a great job in organizing this into the 8 steps that she thinks you need to do to create your business, whatever it is. And then she has just a couple little extra random chapters here. She has a quote, and the pages are in green that start out each section, and she goes into just a little more explanation on each of her steps, and then she tells you what supplies to gather, and she's going to pretend like this is a place for you to create a vision board as well as use this as a regular planner, so that's why you have the stick, the tape, and the magazine stacks. Now, this is the first step, and each step has, like I said, its own chapter and its own quote, and inside of here she is just going to give you a little more explanation on exercises that you can do for each of these. She's going to give you some space to write. She's going to give you, I don't want to say this touchy-feely stuff, but she's just going to give you some, I call this mother hen advice on things that she thinks you should do to help your life and yourself. And you know, same thing, I don't know if you've noticed on her website, she's been doing a lot of mindset coaching, which seems to be a big trend right now with a lot of business coaches. They are moving into mindset and confidence coaching. Everyone is going to become like Gabrielle Bernstein soon, but same thing. This is basically all that chapter 1 is about, and archetypes. So she has a quiz. You can add it up and then figure out what your archetype is. There are obviously easier ways to do this on a computer, but in case you just wanted to leave everything on paper. Then we get into step 2, create the fantastic things for your world, also known as your products. And in here she has a brainstorm and things you want to be doing, your customer, your ideal client avatar. Then she's going to give you a chart on all of those different people to organize them, and finally just ask you to review what you have come up with and put that into a plan. Start talking about your sales strategy and your images right now and your guarantees. And then she's going to go into different products just to make sure, just to ask you questions on how to simplify this. Then she's going to go into pricing. And then finally we get to step 3, which is form the 4 pillars of success. And this is how the book came. I don't know how that got there. And then she's going to talk about legalities and naming, and then she's going to go into contracts, operations manual. And again, a lot of this was set up, I thought, for someone who's going to scale to a very large system, which you may not be ready for. You might just be sort of doing a one-man shop. She's going to talk about accounting, record keeping, And then she's going to go to step 4, which is get your mind on your money. So some more information about record keeping and, again, soulful rituals. This is a little bit like Denise, I think her name's Denise Duffy. And then she's going to go into standard stuff that you learn in business school and a P&L statement, balance sheet, and then how to write yourself a check. Finally, step 5, sell your soul, also known as heart-centric marketing. And this one is really just talking about the same thing that we've always heard, which is to give more to get, and how to put content together, how to get a board of advisors, your about section, your brand, putting your website together. Again, not a lot of technical, just more high-level things to think about. Step 6, build an A-team. And again, I mentioned this before, it talks a lot about sort of scaling to a really large capacity. And if you're just starting out, you may not have the money yet to put and even get one VA in place. But that's definitely, delegation is something you could think about later. And she's putting a lot of information into, like I said, scaling, how to interview people, how to onboard new hires. So step 7, make a bigger picture plan. And over here we are talking about, putting together a budget and how much you're going to spend. And then, goals for each of those areas, and then breaking it down further. She has what's called a 5x5 plan, which just puts everything into a grid. Now we're at step 8, which is craft or conquer calendar. And again, there's still no mention of the other planner, and I think that's because it had not been produced yet. Probably wasn't even thinking about it because traditional publishing usually waits to see how good your first book does. But now she's talking about a business retreat, always a great idea, month mapping. So she is talking a lot about planning out your month without actually having a planner to go with it. And so these are all, just in case you're wondering, these are all exactly the same. Balanced ambition, career learning. This is just the same page over and over and over again. So that was that section. And then this is that extra section I talked about later, You Were Born to Conquer. And it says, let's see. Okay, so this is going into meditation. And again, I told you she was going into mindset and some of that touchy-feely Gabby Bernstein stuff. So this is definitely the Gabby Bernstein chapter, if there ever was one. And then she goes into the Conqueror's Toolkit. Oops. Which this was actually listed as an entire chapter, and these tools are what she recommends. Obviously, this book was written in it was published in 2015. It's possible that it was written in 2013 or 2014, so I would definitely look for a more updated list from this. And then gratitude, she's just giving thanks to people. She's not telling you how to have a gratitude or have a gratitude journal, image credits, tiny thing here about the author, and some links, and that's it. So that is your book. All right, let's go into Conquer Your Year, which is the second book that came out a year after the Conquer Your Kit we just walked through. And she's calling this the Ultimate Planner. And if you notice, it just says author of the Conquer Kit. It doesn't necessarily tell you that it goes along with it. And you can see this is simply a spiral bound, even though it looks like it is a regular book. It is not, but that's great because then it can lay flat. So you can see it was just kind of punched in and glued in, which is something that I discuss when I go into the non-coil binding options. So something you might want to look at. Over here, now this planner is, or actually this book is purple, whereas this one was mostly green. So if you like this color better, you might like this planner better than the other one. She does a simple little intro right here. Then she goes right into getting started, which is the directions for the year for you to sort of put down your goal setting. She's left you some space in here. And then she does what she calls 12-week sprints, because obviously if this is undated, you don't really know when the month starts and ends, but you do know that the year is divided up into 4 quarters, each of which are 12 weeks. So that's why she's calling this a 12-week sprint. And that's her system that she's laid out for you. And then she has a 2-page weekly layout. She explains how that goes. And now you jump right into the planner. Now, all of these sections are kind of rinse and repeat, right? So there are 4 major sections, which she calls sprints. And here in the sprint, you are putting your milestones, your brain dump, sort of some big bucket ambition areas, conscious creation on, your goals. I mean, obviously I produce videos 3 times a week and social media posts, probably multiple times a day. So this is not enough space for that, but maybe it was back in, I don't know, 2015 or 2016, whenever this was written. Visualization and what reward will you give yourself. Now we jump right here into the two-week spread. I shouldn't choose to say two. We jump right into the 2-page spread, and this is where you set your intention for the week. This is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday are lumped together. Again, I think she's thinking you're a business person, so maybe you just work Monday through Friday, and Saturday and Sunday are just kind of fun days. She has a section here for your top 5 goals. Gratitude, and then mastery and well-being, so water, exercise, and daily habits. So that might be fun just to check off. Deliverables, again, for the whole week, not for that day, and then receivables, what you're expecting. And then over here, weekly reflection. She has a section on just asking you how the week went, and then some tasks that you might want to punt over to next week. So again, like I mentioned, this repeats 12 times. So we go through, you'll see sprint week 4 of 12, 5, 6. So let's just jump ahead to sprint number 2. So over here, once you're at your last one, this is 12 of 12, then you just kind of get a wrap up of that first sprint, and she asks you some reflection questions again, like what are you most proud of achieving in the last 12 weeks? Did you accomplish your balanced ambition goals and desires? What milestones did you conquer for your big picture goals? Which ones need to be pushed back or adjusted? How did you reward yourself for all you achieved the last 12 weeks? How are you feeling about the new habit you cemented into your daily routine? And how do you feel about the last quarter overall? So again, I won't go through this. So this repeats again, as you can see, it's like a rinse and repeat. And that's how she puts an entire year into one book where you don't really need dates per se. In fact, there is no place in here at all to put what day it is. Is it April 10th? Is it April 12th? I have no idea. And neither do you. Oh, I guess over here you could put the date here for the week. Now this is a little interesting. Once you get to the very last quarterly reflection page, instead of asking the quarterly questions, it instead skips that altogether. So if you wanted to reflect on the quarter, you can't. You'd have to have already Xeroxed another page. Instead, she just calls it the end of year reflection. And these questions are different. What are you most proud of achieving this past year? What would you say is most valuable thing you learned this year? What are you most grateful for right now? What didn't quite go according to plan that you're ready to let go of now? What big picture goals did you complete, and how does your life look and feel now that you've accomplished these goals? What are your top 5 best memories of the last year? What new habits did you form that have made a big difference in your life and business? What are you most excited about for a fresh new year ahead? Then we moved into the conclusion section, and she just gives you a couple of her thoughts, like very, very few, just kind of a thank you and that's it. And then she just goes right into credits and then about the author with some of her social media links. So you are now at the end of this book. So as far as sales pages go, let's first just look at Amazon, and you can see that this here is $12.52, which is lower than the retail price because it's Amazon and they mark everything down. And over here, the Conquer Your Year, the Undated planner, this was $10.87. So as far as planners go, this is extremely, I don't want to say cheap, but affordable, let's say that. And I think that's because it was mass produced by a traditional publisher. Now, if you go over to her website, which is called She Takes on the World, which is a book that she originally wrote, I think in 2010 or something. That was her first book ever. This has a separate section for products and programs. And in here, she simply lists this as a book. Same thing over here. This one's called a planner. This one's called a book. There's her other original book. And when you click each of those links over here, let's look at the first one. the Conquer Kit, she offers you a free download for an excerpt, which is really a little, I don't want to say pointless, because if you go over to Amazon, you're going to be able to look inside and see it anyway. So I think maybe if you were doing this, a better thing might be to offer an entire chapter and don't call it an excerpt, and actually offer one of her 7, I think it's 7 or 8 steps that she has in the book for your planning. She has some mock-ups over here, and then she goes through each of the 7 steps for you. Again, this was the same information that was in the intro, and that's kind of it. She just has links to purchase this, not from her, but from any of these major online publishers. And same thing over here for Conquer Your Year. Obviously, it looks like she put this up in 2016 for the 2017 year, because this came out, I believe, in December of 2016, and then never put up any updates for that. So the only thing I would say is, again, this doesn't really go into a lot of the benefits of purchasing this planner. In fact, it would be kind of confusing if you weren't sure. I would first say it doesn't have to go with the Conquer Kit, in case people got confused. I would also put down that this has nothing to do with the year 2017, especially now that we're in 2018, and so that people don't feel like this is a dated planner, because when you look through here, it's not immediately obvious that there are no dates in here. So order a copy today and receive a free recording of the Conquer Your Year workshop. So that's $197 value. So over here, it does tell you how you could actually go ahead and get that yourself. So these are definitely areas that, I mean, it's a beautiful planner. I think, she has the green and the purple. So remember, this one had more of, I guess it's like a hot pink or purple inside, and the original one had more of a green inside. So you can see that is the theme for this website. So I think she did a great job in being consistent and branding those colors. But again, I would put a little bit more information on each of these pages, even though they are sold through Amazon. I went ahead and filled this out, and if you're wondering what it is, you do get an email from her right away where she sends you a few snapshots of how she uses her own planner, and then you get the bonus workshop, and then you get a meditation. So this is an 8-minute meditation that kind of just walks you through just meditating. Over here, you get it looks like an hour workshop of where she walks you through how she made all of those pages that you saw a screenshot of. So you can see, even for her, she's running out of room to put all of her information. So as I always say when I tell you to make planners, always try to add more white space. People like white space, and just because you have one system, even if they like it, they might want to incorporate some other things as well. So I thought maybe the Conquer Your Year planner and that part of her business was dead, but then I received this in my roll-up, and again, if you don't use Unroll Me, you should, but I happened to notice she has a live event coming up, and this is a live event that it looks like coincides with her Conquer Club, which she actually doesn't even have open anymore, but you could buy a ticket to her Conquer Club for $397 right now, but then the price goes up to $497, and that's a live event in LA, and it's just one day where I believe there really wasn't much of an agenda, but I think she just kind of talks about, again, I would suspect it's going to be 90% mindset stuff, because that seems to be where she and her business are moving. Let's talk about how you can recreate this on your own. So the first one, the Conquer Kit, is meant to be a business plan. So whatever you are trying to instruct somebody on what to do, you could make a book workbook combo like this, where it is 80% text, or I would say probably this is 90% text and 10% fill in the blank. Another alternative is, again, to split it into 2 and make this a manual plus a workbook, and then you could sell each one individually. And sometimes people actually like to write in workbooks multiple times, especially if you are talking about, maybe it's a baby book and they are probably going to have multiple children, or maybe they could make a baby book for planning for a boy versus a girl, but they don't know which one is coming. That could be something fun. The other one, this one, to replicate the ultimate planner, watch my other videos on how to create a coil binding. So that will tell you exactly how to produce this. Now, as far as design, you can create undated planners. So this is actually very easy. All you have to do to create an undated planner, especially a weekly layout like this, is determine, you're going to have, let's say, a monthly 2-page layout. You're going to repeat that weekly layout over and over and over again until you get to, let's say, 4 or 5 weeks. Then you'll put your monthly back in, you'll put goal setting, and it's kind of a rinse and repeat cycle. There, again, you don't need a lot of information in here, maybe a few pages in the beginning like she did, where she just gave you some instructions on how to use it, and that's pretty much it.